Another difference between consumer markets and business markets, and this one is kind of tricky. People have a hard time understanding this one, is demand is derived for many products, which means that especially if you're selling component, it's the demand for the ultimate consumer product that drives demand, and the demand for the various components depends on what the demand is. So for example, who here has bought a spark plug? Okay, who here has bought a car? Did your car have spark plugs? You bought spark plugs, right? But you didn't even notice spark plugs because they came with the car. Okay, so how much did you pay for your car? Anybody? 20,000? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, 20,000, a really expensive one. And for me, if it's got four wheels and goes. So the car cost $20,000. How much do the spark plugs cost? $3 each? At retail? So it's $3.50 that you pay at retail, but if you're buying 1 million spark plugs at a time, do you think you might get a deal? So let's just say, for fun of it, $1 a piece. So I've got $4 worth of spark plugs in a $20,000 car. If I put in a buy one, get one free, I will give you $2 off on your spark plugs. Are people going to buy more cars? Wow, it's only $19,998. Let's move. Whereas if I double the price of my spark plugs, they're now $8. What's that going to do to people who are buying the car? Oh my God, it's $20,008 now. It just broke the... So the idea is that any individual component, the cost of it is so low relative to the end product that in terms of price sensitivity, demand is less sensitive to price and it's more sensitive to demand for the ultimate consumer product. Related to that is inelastic demand. And this is also just related. So again, I used to work in agriculture, and one of the many complaints that people working in agriculture have is that we work very hard to produce the corn, and there's only a nickel worth of corn in the cornflakes, and they sell it for $4 a box. What gives? Okay, but if I'm a farmer and the price of corn doubles, what's that do to the price of cereal? Well, what's that do to the demand for cereal? And what's it do to the price for cereal? It may increase, or the manufacturer may just eat it. You know, I would rather lose 20 cents of margin and stimulate demand than raise my price in a very price sensitive. And when we talk about market structures, it's an oligopoly type situation. Yes?
Oakland is trying to pass a measure that will put a 1 cent per ounce on soda. And the soda industry put $10 million to create a campaign against it. And one of their claims is raise prices for consumers, which is almost completely bogus.
So there's no political agenda here. But talking about relative to pricing elasticity is saying that Oakland is proposing a 1 cent per ounce tax on sugary beverages. And the sugar industry or the beverage industry is spending $10 million to fight that 1 cent per ounce, saying that it will raise prices.
Well, sure, they're not just fighting the 1 cent per ounce. What's the fallout?
Yeah, so that's the slippery slope argument. They're not fighting the 1 cent. But the point that you're making is, but 1 cent an ounce, so a 12-ounce drink, that's a lot. Well, how big is a drink now? 64 ounces? Yeah, it may reduce demand, which is a good thing. But if the price of sugar doubled, and actually the price of sugar is controlled. So anyways, the idea with inelastic demand is that large changes in price have small impact on demand. So we had this during the various, you've seen the price of gasoline go from what, $3 to $6 or whatever just in the past couple of years. When gas got down to $2.50, who here stocked up? Oh yeah. I'm going to put some in the trunk and fill some extra bottles, And then when it got to $5, who drove less? How many less trips did you take? 1, 2. So the idea is that in the short term, demand for petroleum is very inelastic. I got to get to work. Yes, you had a comment. So when it went to $5, I sold my car and got a motorcycle. And now that it's back to $250, did you sell your motorcycle and get your car back? You like the motorcycle. Yeah, and again, in the short term, they're inelastic. In the long term, people have options. They can switch from cars. They can buy fuel-efficient cars, whatever. But the idea is that for the business market, because demand is derived, demand is also inelastic because the components are a small part of the end cost, and it's the end cost, the user demand, that determines demand for the components.